So I'll show you how to add goals and all. So how we can, so whatever that you create, the fields and categories and general settings. So then how a user is going to assign his own goals and all. So if you want to create any goal, for example, you can just go and click on add a goal, and you can see here create a new goal and goal wizard, and you can copy from the other goal plan as well. Okay, so if you want to use, what is the use of this goal wizard? This is to instruct the users how they can use the goal plan. But if they have to use the goal wizard, you have to go and create a new goal. So then you can just go and use the rest of other plans. And in the same way, you can see here cascade. It is something you can add the goal to other goals as well. Then sorry, you can add the goal to another user as well. You can see there is a user and it is being aligned, assigned to the user Anipe. But first let us go and add a goal. Since I just selected here 2012 goal plan, and there are see the fields we have in the 2012 goal plan, like customer is goal one category, internal business process is one category, learning and growth is one category, financial and other. Right. So within that each category we have okay, so the user can assign each category goals as he likes. Right. So you can see there are some goals, categories, customer and the internal business process already assigned. Right. So I'm just going to add another, again, one more category, right? Click on a goal category, and you can just, whether it is a library goal, as I said yesterday, it's not you, I think. This is something we can call it as a success store, where you can add the goals from the success store, or as you can just go and select and add it. Okay, that is one way you can just go and expand. These are already available in the goal, what do we call, what is this section we selected? This learning and growth, right? So it is up to you how you are going to use, or otherwise you, if you want to use the personal goals, where we can get it from here, from the system which we have already created. So you can just go and select here accounting and so on, and where you can add is okay, and assign it. But still you can see these are all we are using from the existing, okay, the goal success store, okay, to our 2012 goal plan. And still you also can create your own goals as well, and you can select a category as well to which one we are going to assign, maybe for financial. And you can also assign the percentage, the weight of the goal, and the start date and the due date. So when you're going to assign a start date, when the due date is already assigned, when the start date is greater than the due date, the system is not going to allow you. So that's why you need to assign first your due date, maybe December 31st, and then you come here and assign the start date to where, from where the goal has to start. And the goal is complete when the percentage 50 is okay, and you can see here the status, and from where all these are coming, when we defined editing and understanding about each goal, we see there are some fields like status, milestone, start date, weight, due date, whatever that you enable there as a default, and those fields will be appeared here, and you can just select here. And if you have any milestones, you can just go and add them, otherwise you can just go and leave them and simply just go and click on a save. And you can see here there is a goal plan is signed, and now here it is a private, is selected as a private. And if you want to edit the goal plan, you can edit, and you can see the weight of the goal plan is under percentage, and it is complete when it reaches to 50 percentage, and the status is on track. Right. So if you just go to the display option, there are so many options available here. Right. Click on milestone, sub goals, start. when you just remove all this, click on update, and you can see some changes to your goal plan as well, right? There are some changes, and you can just go back whichever the fields that you want assign, and made visible, and you can just go and select them. It is from how these fields are coming. It is from coming from when you have selected, when you created or edited the goals in the manage templates. There we have one of the section as element fields. So these are the ones, and you can just go and update so that these fields will be updated for the users. Right. And you can see there is a numbering as well. 4.1, and each section has a numbering, right? This is section 1, section 2, section 3, and so on. And you see 1.1, 2.1, we left learning and growth, and we have financial 4.1, and so on. How this numbering has been added manually, automatically to the system. I will explain that. Right. In the same way, if you just look at here, there is a cascade. And what is exactly this one? If any goal that you want to assign to any user simultaneously by this individual user, you can just go and assign to the cascade and to any user. That means to whom that you want to assign the same goal, right? You can just go and find the employees first. For example, I want to assign it to the user Anipe. Search for him. Right, you can see that whichever that you want to make any changes to the system, you can change it, and you can see the result here. And we have made changes and assigned as a cascading. That means the same goals can be also assigned. Right. If you want to see the goal name, you can just go on, click on goal name, and you can sort it out. Okay. And you can see here, and the last modified and weight and metric and start date and due date and so on, right? And if you just click on here the cog icon, right, where you can edit the goals, where you can view the goal details and goal alignments and delete a goal. Right, if you just look at here, move goal up to move goal down and outdent goal. Why it is showing like this? Because when this particular goal is being created, we made this, okay, options not available. So that is why you don't see these options in the goals creation section. Right. If you want to view the goal alignment and spotlight, you see what happens. It is simply nothing but a reporting concept. You know, you can see the reports, whether it is not started, whether it is on track, whether it is behind and completed, and you can see everything. And the total number of employees aligned to this goal is 1. And you can see the status in the graphical mode and the pie charts and so on. And from this same section, okay, you can also access directly a people profile as well, and you can see everything: progress, complete, the due date, start date, and all. And you can see here the options available, and whichever that you options that you want to make displayed here, and you can just, these are called as a filtering options. So how these filtering options are enabled? Okay, of course, in editing section where we have in the manage templates, but how these options are enabled, filtering options for a reporting purpose in the what do you call goal templates XML files. So let us see all this today. Right. So you are able to understand how to assign a goal, how to select the different goals, and how we can use them for reporting purpose. And you can see different, you can track the results, and you can go and understand, assign it as you like. Right. Let us go back to the goals again. But it's not, we are going to use these goals, whichever the goals we create, we are going to combine together with the performance form templates. When we start a performance life cycle, we are going to use these goals in the form templates. That means when we are going to explain this, and if you remember even competencies and the goals, and which we are going to explain, the form templates will be used together at here in the performance, so that you can see everything, whether you can assign your competencies for the users, whether you want to assign a goals, whether you want to assign a form templates, and everything can be done in the performance life cycle. Performance life cycle is the one where you can assign all the goals you created in the manage templates of the goals and form templates of your performance, and the competencies which we have already seen from your success store which we have assigned, and you can just go and access them. In the same way, if you just look at your customer, if you just go and click on this customer, what happened? The system will go and takes you to the the assigned employee ID. Right. This is how we can assign, and where we can cascade, and where we can filter, and where we can view the spotlight views and so on for the goals that you have created. But usually we are not going to use most of the times directly in the goals section. We use our goals directly here in the performance section, where we are going to use all these together when we launch a performance life cycle. Right. When we come to this, when you look at here the numbering, when you look at this alert, and maybe goal alignments, filtering options, and so on, from where these are coming from where these fields are coming from, these are coming from your XML templates when you set up here everything in the system, so that you are able to view. Right. You see that date range, the filtering options. This is not required. And I think we have already explained what is object library and so on. We don't have to explain, go on here. Right. So now let me explain here automatic goal numbering. So what you can do, you can use this object plan numbering. If you just look at here, this is the one, object plan numbering, you know. So if you have any goals automatically numbered in the goal plan, if the goal categories are defined, the first numbered segment always reflects the ordinal position of the goal plan category. Okay, so where do we need to assign that? It's an object plan numbering element. Okay, entirely. Of course, if you don't find in the template object plan numbering, when you open your templates from your success store, what you need to do, you can just need to define it as it is, as example which are given here. For example, 2014 goal plan. Sometimes you don't find a goal plan numbering here, right? You don't find here. So what you need to do, you need to assign one more section as goal plan numbering, and then you can assign that how you need to assign the goal plan numbering, automatic numbering. So if you want to goal numbering, enable, so you must include at least one line of a object plan number format code. Okay, set here object plan numbering. So you need to set the same as. So you see that example, the numbers, the goals are 1.1 to 1.2, 1.3, and so on. But if you just look at here in the system, example is like 1.1. If you assign again to one more cascade, you will see 1.2. But if you just come back to the admin, yes, we have assigned our goals as 4.3. Right. So how these are numberings are assigned, it's because of in the XML for exercise that we need to update. Right. So if the system has to give automatic numbering for your object plan, you need to always update object plan. The number format should be hashtag dot. Then the system will go on assign, that assumes like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on. But if you see, there are two lines of code makes the goals automatically numbered in the format 1.1, 2.1, 2.2 as the line following. You can see here. So it has to be always within the opening tag and the closing tag of your object plan numbering, and the format you need to mention it. But if it has to go on assign, And what you need to do, you need to assign one more line, right? If you only have a two lines like the above, you are essentially disabling users from being able to indent goal. So the buttons to left indent or the right indent a goal do not appear. The set of mouse action buttons, that this is the one where you can see here. What is this? Of course, I need to go back and check it. And when you click on, there are some options, right, in a gray mode. This indicates to that. And what you need to do to enable users to indent goals to one or more levels, okay, in the same category. So you must have a minimum of three code lines. For example, you can see here object plan number, format, and so on. You need to go and assign. So it has to be updated in the system, maybe not maybe after your object plan, right? After your object plan ID, object plan type, and the name, and then you can just go and add one more line, right? You may ask how to add. It is very simple. When it is object plan due and you find out it is a wizard, right? You just go on the summary section, add section. 1 second. Right. See here, the you can see that object plan due, where it is you can just go on. You see that it is a closing tag for your object plan view. What you can do, you can simply just have a one more line here always, and automatically what happens, a new goal object plan number you can assign here as it is, which is mentioned here as an example. So that's how where we can update object plan numbering to the system for your object plans, as it has to give automatic goal plan numbering for when a user is going to assign, when he is going to create his goals available, whatever is available for the users. In the same way, we have a lot of other things that should be assigned. The XML automatically numbers the goals in the plan and allows a maximum indent level of one. Example 1.11. If goal categories are defined, the first number segment always reflects the ordinal position of the goal category, and so on, you can see. And users are also able to left indent or the right indent the goal by using an arrow button in the goal plan. So you have a edit section here, so where you can just go on, click on edit, and you can define it. I'll show you that. So we don't see that option here. The reason it's not made available, you have to go back to your admin center and you will find options like where you can edit, and where we can enable, and we can see here manage templates. So it's not enabled, that's why it's not showing. Right, you come back. So this is an option where you can find where you can edit the sections and where you can assign all the the numbering as you like for your goal plan as users. Now let us understand defining a category and a default category. So the elements of a category and default category are used to determine the sections of an objective plan, okay, to which the objectives are allocated. So these are the sections that we can see here. It's defining about, and the category element defines a top level category used as a segment and objective plan if one or more category elements presents in the template. So in the each goal category template, we have in each template, in each goal plan template, we have one or more categories like financial, training, customer, and so on. Right. So how to define these, to remember to the system these categories. Right. So first let us understand the ID and the category name, the length. The ID is the ID attribute defines the internal name, which is called as an external code to store your category in the system, right? In the same way we have seen while we defined importing and exporting concept, there we have a first row that is indicating about ID, which is an external code where the system uses to enter the data. And we have a category name, which is the name of a category, and then lag it's defines about what we can call is a default local, and the name of your what do you call, you see when you define each category we have a default, whether it's required and so on. We have the fields in the manage templates, and these are the sections that indicates about. Now, how to the default category section is indicating how this shows in XML. It's just an example. Category ID is equal to customer and category name, and you can see here and the closing tag, and category ID and financial. So where it is indicating it is a category ID. Let us come here, and you can see here the category here. So if you want to add a number of categories, like, the goals, it is a category ID financial. And what is the goal name? 2014 goals. And you can see the category and the field definition, name and text area is equal to true, whether it is a false or view default on, show label false, by default. And you can see the field label as a goal and description goal and so on. You can see everything which is defined. How you can see here when you click on manage templates, you have that option here. So I'm just taking extra because you need to understand of your XML. That's why, otherwise we can just go and start our concept. Right, what we are explaining here. Yeah, the categories. So here you can just look at here the category. You just click on any of one of the example. You can see the long language and the label and internal business process label and so on. You can see a lot of other things, but it depends upon what you update in your XML file. All right, you can see here in this example you have a category ID financial, where this a category ID is coming within your goal 2014, and it's closed. And you see the field definition name, and you see the field label goal, and field description a goal, and closing tag. And again you have one more field definition for metric. That means these are the fields. Which are that? These are the ones. You see that goal name, metric, weight, start date, the due date, complete, and status. And you see all this. How is these are all defined in these XML form goal plan templates. Okay, and you can see the same way. We have a metric field definition. You see that the categories are different and the fields are different. But here in this 2014, we have only one category ID. Suppose if you want to add one more category ID as a customer or a training, or training and growth or financial, and what you need to do, you just go and add one more line and define it, so that you are able to have one more category to the same 2014 goals. And then what you can do, you can just go and copy and replace the name, and that's more than enough. And next, if you see here the goal metric, okay, the field definition, it's a goal. Next, you see the field definition metric and weight, and as you just go on, you have a lot of other field definitions, still weight. But you don't find here any status or any percentage, or the values that system has to understand, where the goal plan templates can be defined and edited for the users by where you need to update. For example, in this particular goal plan 2012, you have a goal name, metric, weight, the start date, due date, and so on. But you don't find everything here in the template. The reason, it's not updated. If you have to go and do as an exercise, what you need to do, take the example from here. right? And you look at here, for example, in the status, what are all the fields are there? You have a change in language, the label, the required field, and whether it is showing in the mobile goal plan, if it is enabled, BizX mobile app, whether it has to show in a people profile, what do you need to do? Field ID, drop down, and so on. What you need to do is just come here and you need to follow the same. And you take one example here, the weight, and you can look at here the field definition ID and the type, is it required, if true, and whether it is detailed explanation, view the default and show label, and you can see a coaching advisor and a cascade update. Okay, and you can see here everything, and you can define as you like these goal categories and the field definitions in the same way. Here you can see. So this is all about your category, how you can update for your goal plan templates when you work on. So here in this example you can see the goal category IDs like customer, the category ID for financial, category ID for development and learning, internal business operations and other, and customer, custom, and so on. You can add your own examples and where you can update your goal plan template categories to your goals. Now let us also understand the field definitions here. Each field definition defines the fields within in your goal plan. Otherwise you can call it as an objective. You can call your goals, or you can call it as a plan or objective. Both are same. So requirements for the field definition elements are: all fields that are used in a goal plan must be defined in this section. Okay, so whatever that you are going to define in the goal when you assign to the users, that has to be defined in this particular section, right? The order that fields are defined to in it dictates the order that they will appear, they will be displayed in the goal plan details page when the goal detail and in the goal edit window. Right. When you add a new field or remove an existing field from the goal plan template, you need to either add or remove the field references in these sections of the template. So what do you need to do? You have a field definitions, the field permissions, plan layout, and form layout. You know, see that for every field we have to set a field permissions. For example, when a user is going to open, when an administrator is going to open this goal plan, and the fields will not be appear. And it is depends upon where, how you are going to assign RBP framework, how you assign the permissions in the RBP. Suppose you are going to assign the field definition, there are a number of field definitions, maybe for example, maybe goal name, metric, weight, the start date, and so on. And it doesn't mean that every user or maybe every administrator, every manager will be able to see all this. You know, it depends upon the field permissions that you are going to set in an XML form goal plan templates. It depends. But as an administrator, you will see everything. But whatever that you set a permissions in RBP in the goal management section, and where you insert, where you enable for the users permissions, and those things only will be only visible for the users. It is because of the field permissions that you set in the goal plan templates. Let us come back. Right. You can see here, you can see the field definitions. You can see a lot of other examples. You can just go and see here, and you can add your own other field as well. And let us come back to the permissions. Right. So we need to understand the field permissions. You can look at here. Right. So the field permission type is set as read, or maybe as view, or the field permission is set as none. Now, if you just look at here, I know the description, I know you see that there is a asterisk. So when you see that for the field, okay, see that the role name, okay, which is given here, the role, permission roles. What are the permission roles we have in XML? Asterisk or E, WEM, do you all remember? You can see that EM plus, these are all called nothing but these are all roles. If you could recollect the class which you have explained the succession data model, the same thing we also have to use. Right. You can just look at here that a description for the role name, whether the employee can define a description, whether employees manager can define the description for which fields, and you can set up here. Right. You can see the field permission type. It's been set up as the field read. Once you set up as a read, they also can edit. Now you can see here that these permissions which are set in the form templates, a goal plan templates with a role name. Okay, this is one of the XML coding, what do you call the name format. It has something its own definition where you need to update for every goal plan template by default. So you need to go and give your own role permissions for your field to define the name, the start, the due date, the start, and the done, and the wait. And if you want to add one more line, maybe as a status, you can also add. Next, you see that there are field permissions even as you see that field permissions for description, the field permissions for to write for these fields for which employees, for employee and for employees manager. The owner and the manager may write all the fields of an employee goals. This is also one of the description which is given based on the role permission, the field permissions which are given to which field sections like name, metric, and so on. So it's very easy when you just have a glance and compare with the things and work on that. So where you can read, whether you can set as none, if you don't want to make this field visible in the goal section, or whether this has to be edited, whether it has to be read or write. When you set as write, what does it mean? When you set as a write, the user is able to, okay, the user is able to view. But when you are setting as the right option, the user can read, the user can edit, means they can also change the data where within your instance based on the description. The description for the field name, the description for the metric, the description for the field start, the due, and so on. Now, in the same way, you also have a plan layout section, form layout section. Right. You can just look at here the element field definition, the field label, the field description, the table row label, and enum value, the table column, and so on. Right. This is just this is more easier than this example, and you can look at here. The form layout, column, weight, and the field is name and the column and so on. You can just see here. Right. So this is how we need to understand these goal plan templates, and you can see the ID which defines the internal name for the field where the data is stored in the database. The list of standard fields ID is shown below as the standard goal field IDs, and you can see the type which defines the type of the field. For example, text area, date, the percentage, and enum. Right, the text is a single line of a text, and the text area is a multiple lines of a text, and the date which is typed as a date, the table of a data is completely your screen. The number of a value, a link which is there. If you are going to add any other external links, where you can also add, where your new pop-up window also opens, as you can add as you like. Now you have a field label. The field label that displayed in the goal plan template, it can be configured to use whatever the term the customer wants to. This is the label. And you can just go and change the label as the status or anything you can define it. That's what is defining here about in the presentation. Next, field description. is used to put an internal comment where it helps the users to understand the use of this particular goal or use of this each field when the user is going to use. But this is not going to be displayed in the UI. Next one, the default value optionally used, okay, as to specify a default value. Next one, goal plan field properties required is true or a false. If true, the field is required and a red asterisk appears next to that field. You can just look at here. So you don't find here, you can see you need to go and select here, and the field has to be, when you select, when the user is going to create a goal, and the status is mandatory, otherwise the user will not be able to create his own goals in the goals section. Right. In the same way, you have details and so on, and you can see. And what fields to include in a goal plan for a filtering. Okay. So you can see to important to define what portlets will be used to reporting on a goals. I think when we assigned in the beginning of the class, I just clicked on goal alignment, and there are some display options, filtering options has come. So if you want to generate a report for any fields available, you have an option to filter, and these are all being defined. It's because of the fields which are defined in the plan template as an example, so that you are able to view in the pie charts on graphical mode and so on, as we just showed here in our previous example. Okay, but we are just taking extra to make understand these goals, or usually we have to directly go and use the same goals in form templates. Usually we always do the same, because when these goals and the form templates goes together where we assign, you can just go and click on goal alignment on spotlight, and you can see the same here. But you can see the display options as well, and you have filtering options how you define, and the user has the filtering options to select, where it depends of, you see the goal info section which has the goal name, the category, the owner, the last modified date, and you have the status fields like the start date, due date, complete, and progress. But why you are only seeing these fields? But it's because in the goals when a user is assigned, right? If you just go back, there we have a view options. It depends upon each goal when you assign what are the fields, what are the categories assigned. If you just click on here display, you have a lot of other fields here. But if you see a lot of other fields by default, but still you don't see for everything here. The reason, it is not defined in the goal plan template, the fields. That is why you don't find. For example, don't see the milestone here, and you don't see the sub goals, and you see sometimes the status. For example, I'm just going to update the status by unchecking here. What happened? You can see here the status, where, for example, the weight, and when I click on update, the user has an option to see where he can filter and he can define his own goals by using, from where all these are coming from your goal plan template only, and where we can use the same filtering options for your reporting, and where you can track them and understand them. Next, you also have a calculations and functions and operators, and arithmetic operators, arithmetic grouping, built-in sub-goal calculator ratings, and built-in rounding functions, built-in date functions, comparison operations. I think I've given this document as well. You can just go and understand them, how you can use, okay? But you need to understand them. Of course, these are all already defined in the system, but you need to understand. The plus operator indicates about sum, and minus, difference, asterisk, it's a product, and it is a quotation. So you need to understand for your a kind of, we have a lot of other things like sum. It's add up values for one column in a sub goal table, and the targets, milestones, the results are stored as a goal level field. For example, when you select milestone and the rating, and average column and so on. We have a lot of other things that where we can use in our, okay, but where it comes in the calculator ID, I don't think this is here in our plan template. Let us check here. Yeah, we don't see here in this particular. It depends upon your requirement whether you need to set up these values for your calculations. So where we have these, and we need to understand what is a sum and all. So you can see that operator equals, does not equal, greater than or equal to, less than, and so on. We have operators, so we need to understand and, or, not. Whenever you find, you need to understand all this, right? So here again we have a goal import. It is nothing but, here in the instance we have a beta goal import. What exactly the beta goal import? The beta goal import is something where the system allows you to generate a .csv, a file with a specific header information. Okay, of course it is not like any other import, but here when you're going to use the beta goal import, where you can specify the header information, and you can also import the functionality where you can write whether they can write, read, and all. So when you're going to import a goals, so that we call it as a beta goal import. That means you have an option where the goals that you are going to import, where you can set it as read, where you can set it as write or read. You can just look at here. And you can see here, when you are trying to import and when you browse and with all the necessary, okay, you can see there are goals are available here, and you can generate them and you can make changes and import them, and the system is going to allow. But when you are going to, you have the goals that you want to make necessary changes to the headers and to whatever the goals that you are going to generate, and when you import, you have a character encoding, and you can specify that if there are any special characters, and you want to set it as read only goals, and otherwise you want to allow the goals to duplicate as group goals and so on, and you can set it as. But if you are going to uncheck this one, okay, if you wish to set as import as a goals to read only, you can set it as. But if you are going to uncheck this, without you're not giving any check mark to the read only, what happens? The goals that you import, you are able to read, you are able to write as well. So that is also an option where you can just understand, where you can enable use this beta goal import. The beta goal import includes import of the matrix lookup table, components import, goal alignment management, update of a goal created through the UI, and import of a new mission statement, addition and update of a group goals, and set goals as read only through the import, enable goal plan permission, association for customers with the standard permissions, like read or write, yes or no, assign a group goal permission for employees to the target population, right? So but if you have to enable this one, if you have to get this option in the system, what you need to do, you have to go and enable, and to access the goal import. So where do you need to enable that? So you have to go and see that you have to enable the target population for goals, group goals, and you also have to enable the group goals total, but what it requires, TGM is required as a prerequisite, and you also have to enable goal import as well. Then only you are able to import the goals, you are able to generate the files, whether it is read only, whether it's write only, and for any kind of template that you are trying to import, right? So these are all about your goals, and where we need to understand them in clearly. But you also have a ID, GUID, sub GUID. Do you all remember the GUID and all? GUID. Anybody remembers that GYD global we have already used, all right? So where we have explained what do you call competencies. When we define a competencies, we have a sections like GUID, default, and so on. So I think a lot of other things which we have here, these are already explained, and we'll also see all these while we go on with our what do you call performance management, where we see a lot of configurations, which is very much important, where we have a stack ranker, routing options, and where we are going to assign goals that you created, where we are going to see competencies, the goal templates, while we assign what do we see, the goals and the competencies and the form templates for your performance are used when we define your performance form life cycle. Then we are going to use every goal that you define here in the goal templates, competencies which we used in competency section in the goals. But if you are going to use the performance form life cycle, or performance cycle, so you have a lot of other configurations that has to be explained and it has to be created. So then only you'll be able to see everything here in the performance section. All the things are assigned. So we have a lot of other things and where you can track and understand them. So, but here it is not like your employee central module. Employee central is having a lot of